Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode. Thanks for tuning in. I think we all have that white whale of a Lego set we want to collect, don't we? The one we never bought, the one that got away all those years ago. For me personally, it was this set here. Welcome to Apocalypseberg 70840 from the Lego Movie 2 back in 2019, can you believe it? Yes, it was that long ago. 5 years ago this came out, back in February I think it was, and it was priced at $279.99. Myself, I couldn't justify spending that on a Lego set back in those days. I didn't have the disposable income. So as you do, you wait for these things to come down in price. And unfortunately, this one never did. In fact, it became discontinued before I even realised. In fact, it was discontinued just 10 months in after its initial release, which I was very surprised about. I never did find out actually why it got discontinued for so soon, because normally these things run for a couple of years, don't they? If anybody does know why it got discontinued so soon on, please let me know in the comments. So 5 years on, I hunted for this set, high and low, at a price I wanted to pay. And unfortunately, the price kept on going up and up, as things do with certain Lego sets. Here in 2024, I bought this, I think it was a few months back now, and I paid £400 for it. And I think postage was probably around about £15. Ironically, if this was made today, that would be about how much it would be to buy now in the 2024. So I've actually ended up paying what it would have been anyway eventually, but obviously I've had to buy it second hand. And as you can see here, the box is pretty battered. In fact, this one's bulging. Originally, this had 2 cartons inside, I believe, and it was obviously bagged up into numbered bags. The seller has reverse built this set, thankfully, and bagged it back up again into some nice little Ziploc bags. So I was looking forward to building this, but I do have a lot of other Lego sets I have on display. And if you're like me and you have a lot of Lego sets on display, you realise just how quickly they get dusty. And obviously looking at how much this goes for now, it's increased even more since I bought it a few months ago. In fact, to buy it new, you're looking at 800 quid, can you believe it? £800, which to me is just absolutely amazing. You know, I just can't believe how much it's going for. But it is an amazing set. I do have a really big interest in the Statue of Liberty. It wasn't until I was a teenager that I actually learnt that it was a gift from the French to the Americans back in the late 19th century. And its original colour was like a brown colour, because obviously it's made out of copper. And as it's aged, it's obviously turned green over the years. But yeah, any Lego set that comes out with the Statue of Liberty involved in it, I usually end up buying it. So this was an absolute must-have for me. Just a shame it's taken me so long to get it. But as I was saying before, obviously these things get very dusty. And obviously when you dust these things, parts start dropping off, and you start losing things. And you certainly wouldn't want to be losing any of the minifigures with this set, especially the Harley Quinn figure there. And I think it's the Green Lantern as well. They're the most two expensive ones to buy on their own. In fact, Harley Quinn there goes between £200 and £300 at the moment here in England, at the time of making this video, which is just absolutely amazing, isn't it, for a minifig? I certainly wouldn't ever pay that kind of money for a figure like that. But there's actually 12 minifigs in this set in total, and it totals over 3,000 parts. So I started looking around at a copied version of this set. I know I'll be frowned upon for saying that, but I thought to myself, for display purposes, let's just get a copy of this to have down here on display, and if anything gets knocked off or goes missing, it won't matter. So I started looking around on Google, and I found a few sellers on Aliexpress selling this, which surprised me even more, because I thought, I'm amazed that people are still actually making this set, even as a copy, 5 years after its initial release. And then next up, the price was even more shocking. Just £50 was the cheapest I found it for. But of course, if you look at the small print, that doesn't include postage, which is 30 quid in most cases. And then you're looking at import duties, because this, in fact, obviously comes from China. All the sellers I spotted, at least, were from China. Something I noticed after I bought it, actually, looking at this description here, it's got a warning disclaimer. Warning this product can expose you to chemicals, including DEHP, which is known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects or other reproductive harm. That's a little bit discerning, isn't it? I don't remember seeing that when I ordered mine, and obviously I'm just seeing this now. So I guess don't put these bricks in your mouth. But I found a copy of this set for, I think it was £79, and the import duty worked out around about £20. Of course, there's always the risk, obviously, as well, of the import duty charges on top of that, because I think Royal Mail charged about £8 or £9 on top of that. But then I thought to myself, it's still a hell of a lot cheaper than trying to buy this set second hand again to have a display. So I bit the bullet. I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy this. I added it to my basket, bought it. Then I started reading nightmare stories about people buying copied sets and all the parts that can be missing and deformed parts and it not going together very well. And obviously you've got the choice of a PDF instruction manual or a paper manual for just a couple of quid more. But no, I bit the bullet. I bought it, like I say. A few weeks later, it still hadn't come. I got a message from the seller saying you've got a £1 discount on your next order, to say sorry for it being delayed. Because I've also heard nightmare stories about shipments not even making it out of China and getting sent back to the seller, and then you just end up with a refund. But in this case, it turned up the very next day, which surprised me even more after that message. And I got this bag in the post, because obviously it wasn't in a box. I knew it wasn't going to come in a box. I'd already heard of how these things turn up in a very tightly packed bag. So I'll stop whittling on about it now, and we'll take a look at that next and see what I actually got. And we'll see if it came in numbered bags or not, because if it hasn't, it's going to be a real headache to put together. And here it is, and I'm pleased to say the bags are numbered. I'd already opened it up at this point, but you can pretty much see just how it's come. It's just in a grey plastic bag, and it was very tightly packed. To say there was an instruction manual in there as well, they did a very good job trying to make it as small as possible. I guess that's to try and keep the postage costs down. As you can see, the manual is just a plain white colour on the outside with a model number of 1331. But I'm quite impressed with the sticker sheet. It looks okay actually, I was quite surprised. And here it is. Here are the numbered bags. It's in bags of, obviously the groups of bags. And the larger parts are on their own, as you can see here. At first glance it seemed very good quality. The boards are very stiff and shiny. There's no dirt on them or anything like that. And so far, looking at the larger pieces, I didn't spot any distorted parts or any discoloured where dyes have got mixed up, or colours rather have got mixed in. So I continued to look through the bags to see just how much was here, and I started looking for the minifigs themselves. And here's the first one here. One of the things you always notice about these copied sets, actually from China, the minifigs arms and feet. So the minifigs arms and hands are never attached. Just imagine if they did have feet. But no, the arms and hands are never attached, which is rather annoying. And when you try and put them together, they're not always that stiff either. If you ever try taking a Lego minifig apart, you know just how hard it is to get those arms off and then back on again. You can normally tell when you have to put the hands on these, if they don't click into place, you know they're going to be a poor quality fit. But yes, like I say, so far it's looking quite good. I'm quite impressed at this point. So I suppose the next thing to do is to start building this. I have decided not to do a time-lapse build of this. I'm not going to sit down here in my basement studio doing it, because I don't want to spend 10 or 12 hours down here on my own away from my wife getting bored doing it. So I'm going to build this upstairs in the living room while we watch TV in the background, and I'll just show some stages as we go through it. And here's a close-up of that sticker sheet. I didn't realise just how many stickers were with this set. 55 I think there is in total, which is a heck of a lot. I don't think there are any printed bricks in this set whatsoever, but we'll find out as we go along. Next up, I decided to hunt out the minifigs and put those together and see how that went. As you can see, like I mentioned before, the arms and hands aren't even attached, but the torsos and legs were, for some of them at least anyway. Next I took a quick glance through the instruction manual to see what I was up against. And I must say I was quite impressed with this as well so far. The illustrations seemed quite clear and concise, and it looked quite well explained. At this point I hadn't actually looked at the Lego instruction manual itself to compare the differences, so I shall do that at the end of the video. And here are the beginnings on one side of the base, and I must say that at this point so far it's been quite an enjoyable experience. Still missing those Lego logos though, and it still does feel quite strange building this. But yes, the quality so far has been good. I've been very impressed at this point. And here are the completed stages of bag 1. There's quite a few stickers at this point already. Obviously I will try and get this on as straight as I can. I'm not a big fan of stickers, like a lot of us aren't, because obviously over time they can start to peel off. But as you can see here, the quality seems quite good. I've no broken parts so far, and nothing missing. And at this point I had these parts over from the first set of bags. And next it was time to move on bags marked number 2, and there were certainly a lot of them. Lots of teeny parts as well. I think I was on day 3 at this point, but I was still enjoying it. There was no repetitive parts to the build at this point, until obviously we start going on to the other side of the base plate. So at this point this was one side completed. It was time to continue on with bags 2 to the other side of the base plate. And I could see straight away there's going to be some parts that were very similar to what we've already done. And once these steps were completed from the remaining bags of 2s, it was time to open up the bags of 3s and have a look at those. And at this point is where the parts start to become a bit larger. and the ability to progress a little faster. And once you get through all the bags in stage 4 and then into stage 5, this is when the build really starts to become impressive. Even still at this point I had no problems, apart from one distorted piece which I'll show you at the end of the video, and one Technic brick had a little bit of discoloration for a little bit of mixed plastic. But yes, this build so far has been fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I am still kind of feeling guilty that I bought it, but at the same time this will be an excellent display piece. Once you finish with bags 5, you've pretty much completed the head, and that was one of my favourite parts of the build of this, the head of the Statue of Liberty itself. Then onward to bag 6, or bags of 6, which is the final part of this build. There'll be no more bags that open after this. And again, there's a lot of intricate parts here, and it seemed to go on forever, but I was still enjoying it, and the enormous size of this set was really beginning to impress me. Moving forward on with bags of 6, I was starting to come to the end of this build, and it was starting to get more intricate with all the little detail pieces, things like the chains and the book there, and all the other little parts, all the little pieces that you don't notice, all the parts that are left over, you think, where are they going to go? And suddenly they have somewhere to be. Okay, so now that the build is complete, and before we take a look at it, let's have a look at the minifigs themselves and see how these copied minifigs compare to the originals. I've actually got them all set up here. At the back are the originals, and at the front there are the copies. So we'll take a look at them next and compare them to each other, see just what the differences are, and see if you can actually see a difference. And I can tell you now, for some of them you certainly can. While I was comparing these figures, I realised that some of them I put the wrong hands and arms on, so I corrected this as I was doing the comparisons. But I still managed to miss Larry the Barrister's printed arm. Throughout these comparisons, the genuine figure will be on the right, the genuine Lego figure, and the copied version will be on the left. So here we have Scribblecop, one of my favourite characters actually, voiced by Liam Neeson. And as you can see, the helmet on the fake figure on the left is not as good as the one on the right. The white is just on top of the black plastic, so you can see some black coming through. And here's Larry the Barrister, very good figure this one. The only major difference I can see is the hairpiece is rubberised on the genuine Lego one on the right, whereas the left one is hard plastic. Next up is Fuse. His helmet on the left there on the fake one is more silvery than the other one. The other one's more grey. And there's some subtle differences in the print. And here he is with his mask off. And here we have Where Are My Pants guy. The legs on this one are actually black on the fake one on the left, with yellow printing. That's the biggest difference I can see there. And the yellow print on the legs does bleed over. One thing I've noticed actually so far on the prints on all of these, just seem to be a bit brighter, more prominent on the fake figure. And this is Roxy. The paint on the back and the front actually on the torso is a lot more prominent, the outline. And the biggest difference is what you can see with this figure is the headband. It's entirely different, along with her facial expression. But apart from that, it's another nice figure. And this is Chainsaw Dave. The print on his arms and his legs is a slightly different colour to the original. As you see, it's a bit bluer on the fake version. Mohawk, the eye mask is a silver colour on the fake one on the left, compared to the genuine one on the right. And the hair piece is rubberised on the genuine one again, and hard plastic on the fake one on the left. Harley Quinn, a very nice figure. The hairpiece there, you can see that there's a slightly different colour in the paint, and also on the genuine one there's a hole in the top centre of the headpiece, probably so you can attach other items for different figures. Slight differences on paint as well, but a nice figure. Green Lantern, very nice figure. Only difference I can see here is the paint on the back of the legs. Batman himself, very nice figure. What lets it down though is the cape, the cloth material there, you can see through it on the fake one, and also the shoulder piece is hard black plastic, whereas on the genuine one it's a rubberised material. Also a utility belt, it's more defined strangely enough on the copied version, and because of the utility belt the torso doesn't stay on the legs very well on the copied version. And here is Lucy. Oddly enough the expression on her face is different here. The one on the right has actually got the wrong expression, which is the genuine Lego one. But apart from that, the paint job is not too bad. Some slight differences. And I forgot to put her bow and arrow on, I just realised, on the genuine one there on the right. And last but not least, good old Emmett. Couldn't see any differences whatsoever with this figure. In fact, it's a very, very good copy. Again, as you can see here, his facial expression is incorrect on the right figure, which is the genuine Lego version. Same with Lucy. I'm beginning to wonder if the seller who sold me this has put the wrong figures in with this set, because obviously the Lucy figure and Emmett figure were available in other sets. And here it is finished in its entirety with all 12 minifigs. And I must say I'm really, really impressed with this set. It went together absolutely fine, no hassles whatsoever. Just had one damaged moulded piece, which I'll pop up on the screen now, show you what that looked like. And in the end, that piece, that wedge there, that grey wedge, ended up being hidden anyway, or certainly the damaged part. There are only 3 pieces missing. Unfortunately, it was Batman's arms. They were 2 of the pieces that was missing. And the other piece was a little one stud clip that goes there to hold the little Mohican head on. That was missing. I'll probably just end up using a genuine Lego part for that. But apart from that, the build went really smoothly. I was very surprised. All the bricks clicked together really nicely. In fact, some of them seem to hold stronger than actual Lego bricks. But then Lego uses more biodegradable plastics these days. And you can certainly tell the difference compared to the old stuff from the 70s and 80s and 90s. This certainly isn't that kind of plastic, but the clutch mechanism on these bricks is really good. Nothing's been falling apart on me, apart from the only thing that was a little bit weak was these pieces here. If they're on their own, they don't like to stick on their own, but once they're together with something else, they're absolutely fine. But no, that was an absolute pleasure to build. As I mentioned before, I had the Grand Carousel all those years ago, made by Lepin. I think I paid about 50 quid for that, if I mentioned that before. And that didn't go together very well at all. In fact, it fell to pieces quite easily. But that was a very long time ago. It must be over 10 years ago now. And that was kind of at the beginning when you started seeing the counterfeit Lego sets coming about. I do feel a bit guilty, obviously buying this, and obviously while I was building it I felt a bit guilty, as I mentioned during the video. But like I said, it's going to just be for display down here, and I've still got my original there in the box. I will build the original one day to compare them actually. I'll probably make a separate video about that. But to be honest with you, I can't see there being an awful lot of difference. You could tell some subtle differences. For example, the spikes there on the head. They're actually solid pieces, whereas the Lego version, just here. This is the Lego version. That's actually flexible for safety reasons, whereas the fake version there is a solid piece. So that's one of the main differences. And obviously, you've seen the difference in the minifigs that I showed you earlier. You could tell the difference in some of those. Some of the pieces that have that sort of rubberized effect on the actual head pieces, and Batman's shoulder mount are solid plastic on the counterfeit ones. But no, I'm really pleased with this. I'm kind of glad I bought it now. Like I said, I do feel guilty about it, but I certainly would recommend it if you're thinking of buying this, if you can't afford the original, because obviously the original is getting a bit pricey now. You're sort of looking at least £400 plus for a second-hand copy of it, and at the moment it's going for sort of £700 to £800 for a brand new version. So yeah, it's a lovely set. It displays really well. Like I said, it is a bit of a dust gatherer. There's loads of nooks and crannies all over this. To try and keep this clean would be a bit of a nightmare. And it turns out there was one printed piece in the end as well. There's a little fried egg, of all things. That's the only printed piece on this set. That's the same on the original as well. I'm surprised they went to that trouble actually to do it. But even little things like that little barbed wire loop there, it's like a rubber material. I've got the Lego version here somewhere. I'll pop that up on the screen to compare the two next to each other. You can tell a slight difference looking at them. But I'm surprised they went to that trouble to make that. I thought they might have just done that as a solid part. So they really have gone to town on trying to get this as close to the original. So I'll take my hats off to them. I don't know how they actually make any money out of this, really. Obviously they're not paying any licensing, but it was a Lego design set in the end anyway, wasn't it, for the Lego movie? Obviously they had to pay a designer to build it. Whereas obviously the copy people, the counterfeit producers, aren't paying anybody, are they? They're just literally paying for the plastic and obviously the manufacturing time and the staff to make it. It'd be interesting actually to see what the manufacturing process is like in these counterfeit factories and how close it is to Lego, because I always wonder how they manage to separate all the bricks into the bags. and make it obviously a better experience rather than having it all mixed up into one bag. So how long will these bricks last? Only time will tell. Apparently some Lego bricks can become brittle and break. Apparently the brown ones are quite badly affected. So far I've been quite lucky. I think I've only had a couple of little cheese one stud slopes on my greengrocer set from one of the modular series have cracked, but apart from that everything else seems to have been fine. So what brand is this set? This copy of Apocalypseberg. On the manual it says 1331, which must be the model number. If anybody knows who the manufacturer of this is, please let me know in the comments. It could be a Mould King. I've heard some good things about them, so it could be, looking at the quality. So these are the parts left over. I suspect I've probably missed a few bits out, as you do sometimes. I even do this with genuine Lego sets. Okay, let's have a quick look at the differences in the manual, shall we, compared to the Lego version here and the copied version. Obviously there's only one thing on the front of this copied version, that is a model number of 1331, which I assume is the model number of this manual of the set. And obviously the Lego version, as you can see straight away, is a lot thicker. Look at the difference there. Wow. But obviously the copied version doesn't have any information about the creator in there at all. It just starts off straight away on the first page. Whereas in the genuine Lego version here, it's got obviously notes from the designer and other people as well that are involved in the making of this set. Loads of interesting information and backstories there of all the characters of the movie. But on the first page then, we've got, where are we going? If I go past it, there we go. So there you go, you can see there's some similarities there straight away. On the copied version, there's a lot more going on. It's shrunk down onto the pages. Whereas on the Lego one, it's a lot more well thought out, spread out. As you can see, the stages are bigger, blown up, easier to read. But they've still got the highlighted areas of what bricks come next as well, which is interesting. Same on the fake version's got it as well. So yeah, they've used the same images by the looks of it, but they've shrunk them down. But I'm amazed actually when I opened this up, because I didn't open this up until I'd finished making that one. I said to my wife, wow, look at the difference. And I did it in low light as well. Worked on it in low light. It's in the front room there. But yes, it's a major difference. It's a lot easier to see on the Lego version. Obviously they wanted to save paper on the fake version, obviously to keep the price down. It's all about price point, isn't it? But I just wanted to show you the differences in the instruction manuals. Obviously it's night and day. Obviously you've got the parts list there as well. So it's page sort of 450, 451. Whereas the copy version goes up to page 110. So that's the difference. But still, for the price, you can't complain, can you? So what are your thoughts about this set? Good or bad, please let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to know. Has anybody else bought this? How did you get on with it? How was your version? Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that with me. I hope no one frowns on me too much for getting this. Like I said, I do have the original. I know it doesn't justify buying this one, but like I said, I just want this for display purposes. Well, I guess that just leaves me to say until the next video. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll be seeing you. And if you did enjoy watching this video, you may want to consider looking at some of my other videos on similar themes. I'm usually buying something on eBay to relive that nostalgia, and I have plenty more videos planned for the future. Thanks for watching.